Every PI was once a PhD, and the best one, never forget it. Have you ever wondered what really makes a PhD succeed? I have spent over a decade navigating academia, completing my master's, PhD, and postdoc, publishing papers, filing patents, and guiding hundreds of PhDs and postdoc along the way. Through all of that, working in academia and industry, I have learned something simple but very profound. Every PI, every professor, every department chair or dean was once a PhD student. They were confused, they were overwhelmed, they were constantly wondering if they were good enough. Yet, yet some mentors remember that feeling, while some forget. Over time, I have come to believe that come to believe something deeply. The real difference between a thriving PhD and a struggling one is not intelligence. It is not work ethic. It is not the number of publications. It is not the topic of research. The real difference comes from mentorship. The best mentors never forget who they were once. Today, I want to speak to both sides of academia, professors and PI, PhD students and postdocs, researchers in United States, India, Europe, and beyond. You might be in any part of the world and you will still benefit from this because this is not a local issue, it is a global one. Science rises or falls based on mentorship. So let's see how much power does your PI really hold over your future. A PhD is not just a degree, it is a long psychological journey inside a hierarchical system. Within that system, your PI becomes the most powerful variable in your life. Let's keep all other things the same and make this one variable. They influence recommendation letters, they influence authorship order, conference exposure, funding security, visa stability, your overall career trajectory. This power shapes the outcomes, even when it is unintentional. A student cannot easily challenge a PI, especially when they are toxic. A postdoc cannot easily switch labs. It is more difficult than it sounds. An international scholar may risk their visa or funding if they try, so they are in even more bigger problem. And intelligence alone does not guarantee success. Leadership does. Leadership determines whether potential expands or quietly erodes. So, what really makes a PI great? Before I explain that, I want to redefine something. A great PI is not defined only by their H-index, their citations, their publications, their papers in Nature, their grant money or awards. Those things measure output for them for their career. They do not measure leadership, empathy, or integrity that create other leaders. The best mentors do not merely train scientists or do not just hire scientists, they build future leaders. They understand that a PhD is not just learning techniques, it is learning identity. They teach their PhDs and postdocs how to survive failure without internalizing it. They teach them how to separate self-worth from experimental results. They teach them how to face reviewers' criticism without collapsing. They teach them how to ask sharper and more courageous questions. They teach them how to think independently, even when it challenges the mentor. Great PIs create psychological safety, where ideas can be challenged without fear. They clarify expectations to prevent anxiety. Great PIs credit share generously because ownership builds confidence. They give honest feedback without humiliation because shame kills curiosity. They know that very well. Whenever I meet a calm, confident, thoughtful scientist, I can almost always see the reflection of a good mentor behind them. The mentor might not be perfect, but someone who was present to help their students, someone who chose to guide and not just supervise. They acted like a mentor, not a supervisor. The true leaders build more leaders under them. They understand that PhDs and postdocs are humans and not machines. They have families, they have financial pressures, they have visa stress, they have invisible mental fatigue. Because these great PIs and mentors have seen the broken system and they refuse to repeat it themselves. When they see a stressed trainee, they do not say work harder, they say take the day off, come back fresh. These great mentors, they ask for feedback, and the person they critique the most honestly is themselves. They understand something simple but very rare, that a great scientist publishes paper, but a great leader builds people. Because papers, they can age, impact factors change, metrics fluctuate. The scientists you build carry your influence for decades. People are real legacy. The best PIs never forget that they were once one of them. So, what happens when mentorship is forgotten? Most PIs do not wake up intending to harm students. They are themselves under pressure from grand deadlines, publications, metrics, and institutional politics. But pressure does not erase responsibility. When mentorship is forgotten, silence replaces guidance, fear replaces curiosity, comparison replaces growth, and burnout replaces creativity. Graduate students worldwide report high level of anxiety and depression. They report imposter syndrome, and we try to normalize all this. The late night should not become a scientist or a PhD or postdoc's identity, because high output with broken people is not success. A lab that produces papers while losing human potential is not sustainable science. So, professors, how well do you know your students? This is my straight questions to you guys. Professors, I want you to pause for a moment. Remember your own PhD experience. Remember the experiment that failed for months. Remember the committee meetings that terrified you. Remember the moments that you questioned yourself. Now, imagine holding someone else's future in your hands. Leadership in academia is not just intellectual, it's emotional. And for that matter, it is this way for every working organization. So ask yourself honestly, do your students feel safe disagreeing with you? Do they understand what success in your lab really looks like? Have you ever asked how they are doing and not just what they produced? Remember, your legacy is not your citation count. It is the scientists who carry your influence forward. And this is my message to the PhD students and postdocs. What does your support system look like? PhDs and postdocs, please listen to this carefully. Struggling does not mean you are incapable. It does not mean you do not belong in academia. It means this thing: Very simply, it means you are navigating a demanding system. You are not powerless. Please communicate early, document expectations, seek secondary mentors, build a mentorship circle, protect your mental health intentionally. And I have covered these things in other videos. Please watch them, they will really help you in your life. And remember that not every PI will be ideal, but your career is bigger than a single lab or person. Do not lose yourself in this game of science and research. Why mentorship is more than nice to have? Mentorship is not soft. Labs with structured mentorship practices, they show higher retention, stronger alumni networks, greater long-term research impact, and produce more independent thinkers. Because psychological safety drives innovation, and innovation drives breakthrough science. Mentorship is strategic infrastructure. We train scientists for years in experimental design, but we rarely train them to lead humans. And this is the gap that academia needs to fill, because if academia wants better outcomes globally, from Boston to Berlin to Bangalore, leadership training must be central. Talent is universal, but support is not universal. Unsupported talent is wasted discovery. And we are wasting a lot of discovery in toxic labs. So, what is the real legacy of science? Science is human. Behind every data set is a person. Behind every publication is a story. Behind every breakthrough is a mentorship. Is a mentorship example. Every PI was once a PhD. The best ones never forget it. So professors, please take a small step this week. Ask your students how they are doing, and please truly listen. And trainees, do not confuse temporary struggle with inadequacies. You are capable, you are growing, you deserve mentorship that remembers what it feels like to begin. Now I want to hear from you, what kind of PhD advisors do you have or had? Did they remember what it was like to be a student, or did they forget? Please share your story in the comments. Your experience could guide someone else who is struggling right now. If this video resonates, consider sharing it with a colleague, a lab mate, or anyone starting their PhD journey, or someone who might be struggling during their PhD journey. Because conversations like these are how we can change the culture of academia. And this is my final message. Remember this, that every lab has its challenges, and every PhD student faces moments where power and personality collide. I want to hear from you, what's the toughest situation you have faced with a PI or lab mate, and how did you handle it? Please share your experience below so others can learn from it. And if you want more strategies for navigating these challenges and building influence without burning out, stick around. There's a lot more coming in this series. I'll see you guys soon. All the best.